Last we were talking about foraging for members of the onion family, some ramps, some wild chives, and we also foraged for some dandelions. Today we're going to talk about something else, something called an autumn olive berry. Autumn olive berry bushes are not indigenous to the United States. It's an invasive plant originally brought here from Asia and used either as an ornamental bush because of its beautiful bright colored berries and silvery leaves, or it was then used to plant along the roadside to help prevent erosion. The issue, however, is that with these beautiful berries, as birds eat them, they deposit the seeds as they go, and the plants just keep growing and growing. Anytime you forage, you have to be careful. You have to know what you're picking. If not, it could be a very dangerous situation where you can get sick or even, or it could be fatal. These berries, I froze. I picked these in the fall. I froze them so we can make our recipe. And if you'll notice, there's little white to silverish spots on the berries. Inside the berry is a seed that looks like a fennel seed. Everything is edible. It has kind of a tart flavor to it. It is filled with tons of nutrients. It's filled with lycopene, which is great for you. If you're going to hunt for these along the roadside, another means of identification that you can use are the leaves. They have this sort of shape, and these are dried leaves, but if you look closely, there's little silverish kind of speckles and spots on those as well. Today we're going to make jam with these berries, and what we need is 2 cups of the autumn olive berries. We need to add 6 ounces of water. And we're also going to add 1 Granny Smith apple, washed, cored, but skin still on. The reason you want the skin on is there's a ton of natural pectin inside the skin of an apple. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this together, we're going to put it on the stove top, and we're going to simmer it for about 15 minutes. Our apples, autumn olive berries, and water have simmered for 15 minutes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to strain them out. The ideal situation would be to have a food mill, run these through the food mill because you want to take out the seeds and the skin. Since we don't have a food mill, we're going to have a strainer, and we're going to just press all the autumn olive berries and the apples through the strainer. We want to remove the seeds and the skin, and what we want to end up with is that liquidy pulp down below. I finished running the autumn olive berries, the apples, the water they simmered in, through a strainer, and this is what it looks like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to simmer it until it becomes the consistency of jam. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, a little bit of flavor and a little acidity. Anytime you use honey as a substitute for sugar, you use approximately half as much. So I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup of honey. I sprayed the measuring cup with cooking spray in advance so that the honey comes out really easily. We're going to mix this in thoroughly, and we're going to simmer this on the stove top for approximately 15 minutes. But you need to stand near it and you need to stir it constantly or it's going to burn on the bottom. This is thick, so it may take a little bit less than 15 minutes. And how you're going to know is you're going to do the sheet test. You're going to take a teaspoon, you're going to dip it in, and if the drops come off 1 or 2 at a time and coat the spoon, that's called a nappe consistency. What we're looking to do is we'll dip the spoon in, and when the drops turn into a sheet, and it's a sheet of the jam coming off the side of the spoon, we know that it's done. I simmered the jam for about 12 minutes, constantly stirring it, otherwise it would be in jeopardy of burning. I sterilized a canning jar and the ring in boiling water. I'm going to pour the jam into the canning jar. I have a brand new lid that will not fit on this jar. I'm back. I have the correct jar this time for the right size lid. You want to leave a little bit of headspace at the top. You need to have a clean, brand new lid. I sterilized the jar in boiling water as I did the ring. I'm going to tighten it, but it only needs to be finger tight. Now, there's one of the two things you can do. If you'd like to cool this to room temperature and put it in the refrigerator, you can. You do not have to process the jam, and you can use it within a couple of weeks and it'll be fine. If you would like to process this jam, however, I would recommend that you look up a reputable source online, such as the Ball Jar Company, to see how long that you would process it to make it safe so that you could store this. Farm to table and forage jam made with autumn olive berries, Bethlehem apples, and local honey from our hives.